Another project is like Elegy. So some of my friends, so we create a group we call Poets of AI, and we start working in one like kind of Keras Python library. It's kind of Keras inspired Python library, like but specifically with JAX, which is kind of like a new tool, like a new framework to train and work with deep learning models in like an agnostic way. Agnostic way means that you can create your models in JAX, and you can easily port your models to run in different hardware. So you can, if you create a model using JAX, you can run the models in GPU, CPU, TPU without need to do anything else. Just like copy the code and run it in the platform that you need it. Okay, I have some question here. Okay, good. But let's talk about this amazing word, open source. We're gonna discuss today about how to get it started. Like, so why open source is gonna be a really good experience for you as a students that are thinking about to go to the industry, and how recruiters and people that were in this tech company really pay attention about what you are doing out there. So instead to like spend so much time like looking on Facebook and this kind of stuff, you can just like go and try to get involved in one of these amazing open source projects that I start contributing. And I'm gonna open this talk with like a short video about this is come from the open source Mozilla YouTube channel, where some of the engineers that work there gonna give us like different perspectives about what is open source, and at the end I'm gonna provide like my own definition about what I think about what open source actually means, or what is open source in general. So I hope you guys can hear the video. Let's see.
Open source is a movement.
Good.
It's about making and sharing content and software in a way that lets you build collaboratively and publicly. This is how we at Mozilla think about open source in our projects and in our communities.
Open source means that I can see what's going on in my computer whenever I'm running a particular program. So I know what it's doing, I know how it's doing it.
Having the ability to control the software that you're using so that it does what you want and you can change it to serve whatever purposes you need it to serve.
Open source means that other people can use your work and share freely.
I can contribute back to the project. I can make my changes, make some improvements, and propose them to the original author.
Open source allows you to step into a group, say I don't know, and someone will come and offer you guidance and their insight. You learn with another person beside you, even though you might be worlds apart.
It's a strong opportunity for to reduce the digital gap between developed country and developing countries, so it's kind of bring everyone together.
Lots of people think that when their stuff is on GitHub, it's automatically open source. Just because it's on GitHub doesn't make it open source. You also need to have the correct open source license that lets it be used and remixed by other people.
I love the community that can form around open source. I like the idea that someone can just put an idea out there in source code, and a community can form around making that source code better.
If I want to develop my own software, I'm not alone.
So I really dig that you're not really just thinking about your own successes, you're thinking about the successes of the community around you.
One of my favorite open source projects is called Whimsy. It's an add-on for Firefox. And because it's open source, anyone around the world can find a GIF they love and add it to Whimsy.
There's this great tool called Abstract that allows you to treat design as code. I really like the email client, Mutt, because it lets me get through a lot of email without too much pain.
Open Data Kit is a open source mobile data collection software.
I have a soft spot for Firefox because that's what I work on for a living.
Whenever you have diverse groups working on a project, you get different voices, different opinions, you see problems you wouldn't have seen before, and you reach a broader group of people with whatever you're trying to build.
When you're a collective of individuals struggling and learning and achieving the same goals, you better buckle up because anything's possible.
Awesome. So I hope that with this short video, you guys get an idea about what actually open source means. And in the next slides, I'm going to just basically highlight some of the kind of like the words that we actually heard and we actually listen and catch in that video. And one of those words are actually like open source is a movement, and it's a movement to create impact. So creating code or creating the projects or applications that you can actually go and share with the community. So eventually you're gonna generate an impact, and you're gonna get the chance also to work in a collaborated environment with other people, and in the same way you're actually gonna learn from the others. So this is a really good experience for create impact and for interact with other people, and this actually gonna just this taking us to the next point, that open source is related with community building. So it's really exciting when you work in open source projects because you got the chance to make the people behind the software that you use every day. So for instance, I use TensorFlow JS, and it's really nice and really excited to get the chance to meet with the people in the community that is working actively improving and adding more kind of like features to that. And also it's really nice to hear that they are actually taking in consideration those issues that you are reported that are reporting there in the repositories, or you know, like in different ways let them know, so if they are in the right path or not. So this is one of the good things about working with open source. Also learn from others and improve your skills by reviewing other people's code. And this is actually very, very important because most of us, you know, we have been working a lot of like coding and working in projects because of classes or like course, etc. But it's not the same thing when you go to the industry and you get involved in this like projects where like you have this kind of monsters repository of where a lot of people is contributing, and it could be actually kind of intimidating because you don't know, like you feel like, well, I'm gonna broken the code or something like that. But this is why if you guys start right now, you can start getting like some experience, and when you go to the industry, it's gonna be more easygoing for you guys to get into the everyday job. Another good thing about open source, you can put your ideas out there and the community will get together and work on it, you know, so this really they're gonna making that happen. So this is a really good point too. So, and it's really important that if you want to develop your own software, you are not alone. So if you create a repository and you like follow like best practices and you well documented your code and this kind of stuff, you can actually encourage other people to start contributing to your repository. And we're gonna see at the end of the presentation that I'm gonna provide to you guys some tips that you guys that you can have in consideration when you create your code repositories. So people are gonna get more involved and get interested in what you guys are doing. Another cool thing about is diversity. So people with different voices, opinions will get involved, and so they could see problems that you probably didn't see before. So working with the community, you know, like you have all of these people working in the same project and providing their ideas, and somehow this kind of like help a lot to like improve the project and catch those things that maybe when you start working the project initially you didn't think about it, but other people eventually say, hey, what about if we have this new feature, or what about like instead to do this we probably like can do the same thing but another way. So this is like a feedback, and this somehow like help you to improve your skills. And it's just like put this for fun, just broken other people's code. So this is one of the things, like when you think, probably one of the things that make people like get intimidated when they're gonna jump into an open source project, because they think that, well, I don't want to update or like put my code there and I'm gonna broken the other people's code. This is not how actually that works, and that the current tools are well designed, you know, tools like a GitHub or all of this kind of like collaboration platform they are actually designed to avoid this kind of problems. So when you go to like a code repository and you want to contribute somehow, so in the way that actually you do that, you just push your changes into the repository, and there's someone there that is gonna make sure that your code doesn't broken or don't affect the like the well work of the code itself. So you don't need to worry about it, and you're gonna basically get feedback from the person, like from that person. They're gonna tell you like, well, so I really love the feature that you are trying to implement it, but could you please just like to avoid this issue in a different way or in a different manner? So this is really important to understand. It's not like as soon as you push your code there, it's gonna be released in the next version of the software. It's actually like a process to follow, and these are this is like a strict methodology in order to actually that's happening or put like into the production environment. So this is another cool thing about open source, make the software you use better. So you have the ability to control the software that you are using and make it as one you want according to your needs. This is really, really important. So if you are using Flutter, or if you're using Android, or if you're using React.js every day, but you feel like there are like some stuff there like could be better, and you come with some ideas to like improve those features. And the way that actually you can do is just go and submit a pull request. And I'm gonna kind of like show you how, guys, you can get started, or what is the first step that you should follow if you want to start contributing an open source repository. But this is cool too, because it's very important to know that open source is a way to actually keep improving the tools that you are using in your everyday job. And some of apps, like when you go to work in the industry, our job actually gonna depend 100% in open source, because we're gonna use all of these technologies that are out there, React.js, Angular, Android, all of these technologies are open source. So it should be cool that if we somehow contribute back and try to help them, even if it's just with the improving the documentation of those solutions. So another important aspect of open source is like impact and inspire other people's life. This is really important. Search open source means that other people can use your work and share freely with the world. So like if you need to be aware that as soon as you make a project open source, that project itself doesn't belong to you anymore. It's basically belong to the community, and the community gonna start working on it and start improving the tooling. Like people behind of these well-knowns in Python, for instance, like NumPy, Pandas, and all of these kind of deep learning or machine learning tools out there. So those people some of them actually just started like a class project, implementing some of the algorithms that they learned in class, and they just put it there. And some people thought, oh, it's really interesting. It's kind of like, I really need that too for my homeworks, and then they kind of start working on this stuff, and eventually everyone today use NumPy and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm sure that the guy that actually started that project, he's not working anymore in NumPy. Like NumPy right now is a project that the community keep going. So build software tool that help other people. Something that one of the reasons why I go to the academic and I go for PhD and master is because I feel like software development sometimes could be boring, in the sense that at some point it's gonna be repetitive. It's all the same thing. Like even if it's developing a mobile application, like web application, whatever, you're just gonna go there and create a database, insert the lib, update, create the CRUD, the interface, and all this. So this is some point is get very boring in some sense. But so when you are working tools that somehow like help improve people's life, this kind of like satisfaction that you feel like that stuff that you are doing is helpful for someone else, this can make you feel like what you are doing is actually meaningful. So be able to generate impact in other people's life with the stuff and with the skill that you guys are learning every day is something that you guys should consider. Like just not go there and and I start doing money, try to contribute back with the stuff that you guys learn in the academy. And a strong opportunity. One of the engineers that speak in that video, he mentioned about like the strong opportunity to reduce the digital gap between undeveloped countries, and this is true. Like it's really cool how these tools help, to kind of well, it helps to like impact people's life, and how like the people in the remote places, they can actually access this software and uses right away. So one of the like really nice initiative that GitHub did 2 years ago. So for the people that were to open source, he actually started giving this, they call like an Arctic Code Ball contributor. So if you got the chance to work like some open source projects out there, you should get that budget in your profile. And how actually that works is like, I'm gonna show this short video, and I hope this kind of like somehow could be inspiring for you guys and give you some ideas.
Deep in the Arctic Circle, an archipelago covered in ice, Svalbard, home to the northernmost town in the world, to thousands of polar bears. And it is here you can find the global seed vault. Millions of seeds have been sent here from across the globe for secure long-term storage in cold and dry rock vaults. Just down the road is a decommissioned coal mine that has taken on new life. This is where we will protect open source software for future generations. Deep within the permafrost layer, which can stretch up to 400 meters thick, we will store the world's open source software on silver halide film. The data is encoded on frames with 8.8 million pixels each and designed to last over 1,000 years. In our initial deposit, we archive thousands of the world's most depended on open source projects. The work of hundreds of thousands of developers from around the world. We will return next spring, during the perpetual light of the midnight sun, to deposit every active public repository on GitHub for safekeeping in the GitHub Arctic Code Vault.
So this one is one of the really coolest stuff that GitHub did like 2 years ago, and people get really excited when they got those badges, because somehow to know that you are contributing somehow to like with this kind of stuff is really awesome. And it's cool to know that your code is out there, with next to all of these kind of really awesome open source projects that had somehow marked the history. So let me just get back to the presentation here. So what else we can tell about the open source? There are some myths about open source. So one of those, like many people think that when their stuff is on GitHub, it's automatically open source. Not really. You need to make sure that you use the right license. So this is why you're actually, when you create a Git repository, these days GitHub actually tell you like, okay, do you want to add like a license to your project? And based on that, people will know that people that visit your profile will know that, okay, this guy is working with this kind of stuff, and this stuff could be useful for us. Let's kind of help him to push this going. So this is really important stuff to consider, you know, the having the right license, because sometimes sometimes you start like a project and you want to turn on this into an open source initiative, but you are not aware about that, and you kind of start thinking why people don't really reply or don't get interested in my project, and this was one of the reasons. Open source is like secure and proprietary software. There is actually no evidence at all to indicate that this could be like one of this could be one beyond open source software is related or correlated with like having a insecure solution. And this is actually like a really important to know that, you know, like if you think about all of those Android, Linux, and all of these kind of software out there are open source, and people is using those every day to build solution and in their stuff. Open source is difficult to maintain. Sometimes this could be actually true. So I actually put meat here in the quotation, because something that is happens sometimes with open source, you just start working with imagine that you just install one of the libraries to work with your stuff. You're developing an application or something, and you put your trust in one of those open source projects, and suddenly the GitHub repository gets shut down. This eventually could happen. You need to be aware, but this could happen too with commercial tools. So it's either like, and this can actually be an opportunity to use, say, okay, this project is not being supported anymore for generally the people that start working on it, but well, let's make a fork of that project and keep pushing out there like that. And this is a very common start, you know, like if one project become shut down, so some people, you know, like that are working on it, or some of the solution depend on it, they continue working in the project. So then, in summary, what should I consider to contribute in open source projects? And this is for you guys. I really wanted to be inspired. This presentation be inspired for you to start working on it. So first, get involved in social meaning projects for the community to the community. I know the Student Club, you guys are working in I think that the Google Code Challenge or something like that, and eventually you guys like propose some social meaning projects in the local community, which actually like something that is, I feel like is really cool. And I think that is a really nice way to kind of like approach this initiative. So you will gain much deeper knowledge about software development. And this is also an important thing, because sometimes you feel like you are the best developer in the world, but when you actually go there and start reviewing other people's code, you're not able to understand anything. Well, you start feeling, okay, I probably have some lacks in some stuff that I need to start learning. So this can for sure help you to gain more experience in the software development side. Definitely, it's going to help you with the reputation, because people are going to know your work. Recruiters going to know your work. You're going to get contact for Google. You're going to get contact for Facebook, or this company that they're looking constantly for people that have experience working, coding and this stuff. So this is going to help you a lot. You will learn how to work collaboratively, and this is really important too. And I probably have mentioned a lot of time, like important, because all of those points really are. And because sometimes we work by yourself in our like class project, in our course project, but it's not the same thing when you go and work with other people. And you need to also gain experience in that side. It's fun and gives you personal satisfaction. Well, instead of thinking about Facebook Live, you're gonna start thinking about getting GitHub stars, and it's really funny. You're gonna just as soon as you got your first open source project, you're gonna start sending to everyone your project and start trying to get your friend get involved. So it's really nice. It's really nice. It's a really nice experience. And this is like really amazing. It could save you the stress of the following technical interview. I know some stories behind of people that they have like they are right now working in the big companies, for instance, like OpenAI or Google, Facebook, all of these like a big tech companies, because they has been working actively in open source, and eventually they get contact from them and say, hey, I feel like so you have been working actively in this project, helping us to fixing some of the issues and this kind of stuff. Do you want to come and work with us? And presently, I'm gonna send you the link. I didn't put it here, but I'm gonna send that into the resources channel in the World Developers Students Club Slack. One guy that he actually like discussed about how he got a job in OpenAI, and one of the things that he did, he was just like focusing in. He was actually working one of the OpenAI projects, and he actively contributed for like 1 or 2 years, and eventually he got a job from OpenAI, and he didn't pass through the technical interview or anything like that. And your projects are your children. This is true. You know, when you start developing projects, you start kind of like developing this don't end relationship, because it's gonna be very common that someone in 3 or 4 years gonna contact you for one project that you did when you were doing your undergrad. So this could actually happen, and this very common stuff. So you put your stuff there, so expect that people are going to contact you and ask you about, hey, so how I can run this project, or how I can. So what tools? I am almost done with the presentation. What tool we have getting started? Well, GitHub is a really good platform. I think that GitHub has all that you guys probably need to start going into the open source project. And this is a really inspiring short video too, like 2 minutes video, but tell you more in details about what this platform kind of like attempt to be. And this is what like people is using these days to build open source projects.
What do you mean, what is GitHub? It's the largest, most complete development platform in the world. Millions of developers use it. And it's not just developers. These days, every company is a software company. I thought you might say that. Come on, let me show you. GitHub is an enterprise transforming, startup launching, community driven, super secure, open source championing, cloud-based platform. It's where the world builds software.
We created algorithms
And global businesses.
We even went to Mars.
Or at least our code did.
Oh, yes. With GitHub, anything is possible. But how? Say this is Sonal, a senior software engineer, and this is a team's project on GitHub. Sonal and the team can create their own branches of code to work together in parallel.
This is my branch, an alternate timeline where I can build, squash bugs, and safely experiment. There are communication and task delegation tools right next to my code. So when we're ready to merge, we merge instantly.
It works with thousands of branches for over 1 million projects.
And with built-in project planning, automation, CI/CD, and AI-enhanced code editing at every step.
You can move fast and get your ducks in a row. But we gotta be safe about it.
GitHub has advanced security with automatic vulnerability detection, secret scanning, and more. So we can build and ship safely and securely.
So, now you know what GitHub is, you might wonder who GitHub is. It's a student learning to code. It's disruptors revolutionizing music. It's a CEO transforming a global company. It's 21,000 strangers working together to take the first picture of a black hole. It's a place for anyone, from anywhere, to build anything. Anything you think the world needs.
And honestly, yeah, this is really what you need to start working on it. And someone is asking in the chat, like, if I know I'm not like an open source project where you recommend for students, beginners start working on it. Well, so I'm gonna actually address that question here in some tips. So basically that depends 100% in your experience. So if there is one tool like every day you are using, for instance, if you are working with Flutter or with Android or this kind of stuff, so just make sure that pick one of the projects that you are familiar with, like because you need to have the skills in order to contribute. And you can start your journey just contributing, improving the documentation. So you are spending a lot of time reading the documentation because you are learning a new tool. So just try to catch those issues out there and try to just push pull requests to like asking for those issues be fixed. And this is actually like a really good way to start. So here there are some tips to start working in open source. Make your GitHub code repo stands up. This is important. So don't just throw out like code there in the GitHub just like to create a code database. So people don't care about it, just build your code. They care about projects that are well documented and they can use it. So this is very common that when you start working GitHub, that people create the GitHub repositories and they don't even put any documentation at all about what that code is, and they expect that probably like the recruiter gonna go to your code and check what you are doing. This is not gonna happen at all. They're gonna actually check the description of the project, some of the docs that you put out there, and this is what you guys need to do. So follow good practices while you work on your personal projects. You never know how it will end. This is really, really, really kind of essential to mention it, because you start a course project, working like in the final project for like one of the courses that you guys are taking. But sometimes when we are working in the staff for our classes, we don't really care about just in the way that we document our code or in the way that we just follow best practice in the code, this kind of stuff. So and sometimes you don't really know if one of those projects could be one open source project. So try to follow best practices in every step of the development process or your personal projects. If you start like a new project for like machine learning course or for the web development course, and just put that in GitHub, but make sure that you spend some time documenting your code. This is some of the other stuff that I mentioned here. So things about your project being used by other people. So don't think that this is just to do the homework. Don't think about just write code for you and yourself. Invest time documenting your code. This is important, and even you will be thankful for it. Sometimes, and that's happened to me a lot too. I start like working on one project, and so after like 3 or a few years, I get back to that project and I didn't even know what I did because, like I never follow any kind of best practice, or I never document my code, this kind of stuff. So this is one of the things that you need to consider if you want to like start working in open source. Make this process kind of like a good experience for you, and follow a bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach is what I'm saying. If you're gonna want to contribute in one project, don't gonna try to go for those very tricky issues and try to be brave and like spend hours and hours working on it, and like an all energy at the point that all the time that you're gonna spend, and probably someone gonna just go and fix it, and when you get to push your pull request, someone else already did it. So try to just pick one of those easygoing issues out there, and you're actually gonna see that now this is gonna make your experience more enjoyable. And how that's work is like just pick one of the repositories where you feel like you would like to contribute, and go and through the issues and start looking for those that says like first contributor. They're gonna show you how they're gonna show up and help with the documentation or this kind of stuff that don't really require so much effort, and you get more kind of experience working on it. What else? Don't be shy to interact with other people and ask for help. So ask to the people in the community that is working in those projects, follow the blogs, People generally like go there and discuss about the different features, different stuff that they're doing, fixing stuff. Even GitHub offer this really good platform to documenting the issues and make discussions. And so just go and don't be shy and interact with the people behind of those projects. Pick a project that you are familiar with, encourage your friend to work with you on it. This works also. Sometimes we enjoy more kind of coding with other partner. So if you want to work in an open source project, you want to discuss with your friend and say, well, I think that the world need this project. So let's start working on it. And you guys can start coding. Find a mentor or organization that support the open source initiative. And I actually was planning to show this video, but I don't think that I have so much time. So I'm gonna leave to you guys check this video about Google Summer of Code, because I feel like this is a really good opportunity for you guys to start in the open source world, especially because you're gonna have a mentor, and they're gonna help you to address your question and help you during the process. I'm gonna be more friendly for you. Some of the some tools to check after this. There is one section related with open source in TED that is called Open Source Open World. I highly recommend to check those videos and see the impact that you guys can generate in the world by putting your ideas out there. And never feel that your question or your ideas are dumb. So just this kind of stuff that you feel dumb could be very useful for someone else. So just go and try. And what else? So this is what I have to say. So I wanted to show you how I have kind of like made my Github repository. I put just like some information about myself, what I am doing currently, in what kind of technologies I am proficient, my journey. So what are the areas that I am focused on and what I'm gonna be working on those areas that I have been working in the last years. This is good for recruiters to know what are you doing. So just put it there, like if you are open to working open source projects, you can say open source projects, the open source that you are working or looking to collaborate with social meaning staff. So always is good to show up your achievements. This is good for recruiters and get the attention of people that is constantly looking for software developers or people that is working in the industry or this kind of stuff, or data scientists, and try to show up those stuff that you feel somehow could be a good fit and help you during the interview process. There are different kind of plugins. You can actually show up like also on GitHub repository, and you're gonna see how you can make your profile stand up. And I highlight here the open source project that I am working on it, and I'm gonna go through some of them. I always put the URL to go to my to my blog, and if you guys have a YouTube channel or this stuff, you can just put it there. And that's it. So one of the open source projects that I work on it is a CVS Studio, and generally when I start working on a new project, I make a logo, and I try to make a README where like people that come and visit my repos can actually know what that project is about, how to install it, how to start playing around. Sometimes writing this stuff could be boring, but you cannot assume that the people are going to figure it out by themselves how to run your code. So this is really needed. So this is the other Falcon CV project. So same thing, logo, good documentation, some examples. So how to contribute always is good to encourage other people to get and visit your. This is Ruiz.js. So it's one of the most kind of like started like repositories. And this is I put just like a video to show up. This also helped a lot. Like this is the kind of stuff that I did there And some others. This is the LG project that I talked early. This is a high-level API for deep learning in JAX. And I contribute with some other friends on that. And now, how do you start working on it? So when you start working on it, you're gonna see that, imagine that this is one of the projects that you want to work. So generally these projects have something that have like a roadmap here. So this is not really a standard, but either that or the issues. So if I want to people contribute to my repository, I can create a new issue here and I can say, okay, help me with the docs, with the documentation. Right? And I can actually go here and specify the labels. There is one label that is called, I think that is enhancement. Oh, sorry, I think that is in the label. It should be in the labels. Let me see if I can find it here. You can just click this one like help wanted, or there is another one that is more common that is called like good first issue. So if you guys find this in one of the repositories that you visit, you can actually go and check those issues that are more friendly for new contributors to start working on it. So imagine that you're gonna go to and start working in TensorFlow and do some kind of changes or start contributing. So the first thing that you're gonna go is to the issues, because this is the way that you have to contribute. And you can filter out these based on the labels. And some of them are, for instance, related with the live examples. Imagine that you want to make a new TensorFlow live examples, and you can just start working on one of those kind of projects, right? Those issues. And the way actually that works, you need to fork the repository, work in the issue, fix it, and then make a pull request. I guess that you guys already took a GitHub course, or you're planning to do that. But probably in the future we can organize more kind of like a technical section about how to start contributing using GitHub. But this is how it actually works. So just pick one of the repositories that you feel more familiar with, especially those that you are using every day, and pick one of those issues, fork the repository, start working on it. As soon as you finish, just push the pull request, and then people in the TensorFlow team or in the team just gonna check those and merge with the current release. Okay. This is all that I have to say. Thank you so much. This is my information. Just feel free to contact me or reach me out in LinkedIn or in Slack. Or thank you so much, guys, for attending to this event. And I hope that this kind of give you some ideas and inspire you in the stuff that you guys are doing for your careers.